Hi Capricorn, so this is Angel Aura Divination and I'm here to give the sign of Capricorn their June 2021 Tarotscope. If you're a long-term listener of this channel and its videos, I suggest going to the collective reading for updates about the way that I'm going to be running this channel moving forward and some of my thoughts about some of the things that I have done in the past. And also stick around for the reading for that collective reading because it will go over some of the energies that I might be discussing in this reading as well. It might resonate for some of you. That's the point, because it's a collective reading just like this one, but it's geared towards more people than just this one is, where this is just for the Capricorns. This is just for the people who tune in for this reading. Anyway, I'm just going to get right into it. I have the energy oracle cards that I'm going to be using to give some of the preliminary energies, and then I'm going to be using the universal tarot to give me some more information about some of the things you might be going through at this time. Okay. So let's get some more cards out for Capricorn for June. Okay. Let's see. It's fine. So you are definitely, just based right off the bat, I will say that this is probably going to be a romance reading, which is interesting because normally when I do like earth signs, it does kind of feel like more of the earthy energy where it's like about job situations, but it's almost like this is more about romance, and I'm just going to let it be that way because most of the other readings weren't necessarily exclusively romance like this one might be. So the first energy oracle card that we have is the man holding a heart. This could be you, but this could also be somebody around you who has something that they want to offer. You might feel like you have an offer you want to give to somebody, or you might be expecting an offer from somebody in your energy, and that's what's really vibrating for you right now. This card is a 45, reducing to a 9. And 9 is an interesting vibration because it's about the end of cycles. So this might be at the end of a long waiting period for you, Capricorn. Or what I'm really getting is that this is the end of a long waiting for you, where you might have even been waiting to be single, or you might have either been waiting to not be single, where it's like, now I have something to offer. You know, maybe you were saving your money and hoping that you were going to be able to have a relationship once you did that, or maybe you were, you know, doing some spiritual work, trying to heal yourself from past heartbreak or something along the lines of that, and now since you focused on that healing, you're feeling that amorous energy before you jump into a relationship where you're now ready to date, you're now ready to have something that you want to offer, possibly to an individual, maybe not. So let's get some tarot cards out for this. They're saying also something about there is an illusionary energy around you. So you might be trying to manifest relationships right now, and that's a great energy to be in, but don't fool yourself. You know, you might be wanting to take a chance somewhere, but don't lose grip of the reality that you are attached to. You know what I mean? And that could mean two things. That could mean either you are too attached to the reality of you being single, so where you can't actually like see yourself in a relationship, and so you're not actually going for it fully, or you're too attached to the idea of a relationship to the extent that you don't live in the reality that you're single, so you don't bring in the vibration of a relationship to yourself. But it's not like that, because that doesn't really make sense to me the way I said it. But it's more like because you're already vibrating at the energy of somebody who might be in a relationship, especially through your actions and emotional state, you might not attract in relationships from people who are looking, if that makes sense, because you might feel energetically more like somebody who's in a relationship, if that applies to you, because you know, not everything that I'm saying about this one card is going to apply to everyone here. So let's get some tarot cards out for the man holding a heart. Yeah, so this is the end of a cycle of you kind of holding back. And we have the 4 of Pentacles and the 9 of Swords. So you might have even been going through a mental health crisis is what I actually heard. But you might have been helping somebody else through a mental health crisis as well. You might have also been going through some financial restraints that were really kind of keeping you back. This could also be you losing sleep over something that was where somebody else might have been holding back from you as well, and you were losing sleep over that, and now you're kind of doing a little bit better in that realm where it's like you are not necessarily so hung up on who's not giving energy to you, and you're allowing the energy to flow more. With the 9 of Swords, you might have been having some overactive fears influencing your sleep but also influencing your nighttime activities, like your dream activities, like your astral projection, if that's something that you're interested in. The next card that we have out is the Two of Swords. And I'm just going to hit it and quit it with this card because there's not a lot here for you. But I will say that you are kind of coming out of that energy of things not working out for you. I think it's interesting because these cards are all kind of negative, but what I'm really like, it's like even though there is negativity from the past in these energies of these cards, I'm really being guided for you to have positivity. And so I really feel that you are in a more positive mindset, especially when it comes to romance right now, regardless of the problems that you might have had in the past, because the guidance that I'm giving to you through these cards is really more about the advice that I would give to somebody if I saw this card in a reading, not exactly what the cards indicate. So you kind of know your own problems, and you're kind of getting out of a lot of your problems by having this positive mindset and being able to see where you can go in the future for yourself. That's a great energy to be in, Capricorn. Let's get some more cards up for man holding a heart. Can we learn anything about the man holding a heart? We have the Queen of Cups here. So if you're feminine, you might be the man holding the heart as well. You might be wanting to share your emotions with others, or you might be mastering your emotions so that somebody can offer their emotions to you. Although I don't think that you're actually focused on the individual who might want to give something to you at this time, Capricorn. But we'll get into that as we go. There is a need to protect yourself spiritually, but I think you're also being protected spiritually simply by your mindset. And I think ultimately that there is something that needs to be protected in that energy, and here's why. We have the Devil, we have the Ten of Wands, and we have the Page of Wands. As much as you are a master of your emotions and a master of being able to see, master of your intuition is really what they're saying. There's an aspect of things that you're being of negativity that you might feel chained to with the Devil here. It's not necessarily that everything's negative, because no tarot card as an individual card can, be specifically exclusively negative for a reader. But I do see this as a connection to toxic cycles, and this might be why you are being so positive in the energy right now and trying to see yourself in a relationship, so that when you go for relationships, it'll just happen naturally. And that's a great energy to be in when you're trying to manifest, yes, but at the same time, there is a such thing as overdoing it. And I think that also this is just another acknowledgement of the need to lighten your own load is really what they're saying with the Ten of Wands and the Page of Wands here. It's kind of like you have a lot of energy around you that might be pulling you back towards toxic cycles for you. And it's kind of like, if it doesn't vibrate, let it go. If it don't apply, let it fly. That's the energy. That's really what they're saying here. It's like, if it's not right for you in the energy, where it's like, if you're around people, relationships, or if you're in situations where you're being constantly reminded about your ex, or you're being constantly reminded about your past, or you're being constantly reminded about, if this was about work, let's just take it there. If this was about work, and you're being constantly reminded of when you had that harassment lawsuit, that's what they said. That's what I'm saying, but that's what they said too, or something like that, where it's like, I had this negative experience at my last job, and now you want something new for yourself. There is a possibility of you attracting more negativity in, if you allow that to be a burden, instead of just letting it flow off of your back naturally. And I think that that's something that you're getting better at with this positivity that I'm sensing off of your energy. But with the Page of Wands, there's still a need to develop that further. And there also is a need to start in a new cycle after you have come to a completion of the cycle, which is what I was saying when I told you about the 45 reducing down to the resonance of 9 with the Man Holding a Heart card. You are coming to the end of a cycle with the 10 of Pentacles. This is 10 of Wands here. You are coming to the end of a cycle. So this was about work. That's also part of it as well. You might be starting a new job, or you might be starting new situations where you are going to be able to have more energy for relationships, which might be the end of the cycles that I was really feeling. But you're still needing to learn about the new sectors that you're entering, the new situations that you're entering, possibly even the people that you're trying to deal with at this time, as opposed to how people were in the past. There is a necessity for you to kind of study things, because your experience is not always universal. And that's what the ultimate guidance here for you in this Man Holding a Heart energy is. Your experience is not going to be universal, but that's true for everyone when I'm doing a collective reading like this. you're not everybody's going to be having the same story, and moving forward, you need to be able to see possibilities as possibilities and then see reality as reality, because the focus on seeing things as they are might be exactly what starts this new cycle or has ended the last cycle that you were in. Seeing things as they are. The second card that we have out for you is hostilities. This is a 26 reducing to an 8, which actually is interesting because this card kind of, to me, this was kind of about like hostilities was kind of about conflict, and this was really more, now that I've gotten into the reading, it's really kind of consistent with the energy that I was really picking up on when I pulled out these cards in the beginning and I kind of looked over them. You might have situations around you where people around you are kind of toxic, and these people aren't necessarily as spiritually aware or spiritually protected, and so they have to be, they have to be egoic, because that's what the ego is for. It's for protection, especially of the physical body and of the mental space. It's exactly that. Don't judge these people for their egoic tendencies, but be able to understand that some people act the way they do because they need to survive. And that's even true about people having mental health issues as well. I know I mentioned that before, but if you were helping somebody out of a mental problem, a mental quandary, I don't know if that's the right word, that's what I heard, there's a reason why people behave the way they do in a lot of cases. I'm not saying that, I'm not a psychologist, and I don't think that's psychologically sound to say that every problem is caused by something that's happened to somebody. That's not necessarily always the truth, but it can be true for the people that you're dealing with right now, Capricorn, and that's what's sticking out to me with hostilities here. I think for you, there might even be a necessity to kind of understand why these cycles are ending and analyze the behavior of the people around you that you are cutting out of your life, or that you have cut out of your life. Whether that's exes, I'm getting the sense that you might have even lost a couple of friendships recently that were really effective towards you, or something like that as well. The first two cards that we have out for hostilities is the Moon and the Emperor. That's an interesting card combination. You might be dealing with the Pisces. That's what I was picking up on in this man holding a heart energy too, but I just didn't say anything about it, so they're really kind of reiterating that to me now. But also I see here, the Moon can be about a lot of things. I think that the Moon right here is about secrecy, and that if you continue to kind of, and I don't like the fear-mongering style of reading, but I am going to say it because it came to me this way. If you continue to feel like you need to behave like these hostile people that you've been around in the past, because that energy might also be about your own behavior as well, then you might not necessarily get the man holding the heart, the Emperor, that you are wanting. And a lot of that has to do with pridefulness and ego of the people that you are going to be dealing with in the future, where the man holding the heart is also human, and a human experience also would indicate a need for an ego. Everyone, most people have that part of the personality, that part of the brain. And so with the Emperor here, it's kind of like if you come to any situation in a romance, you're prideful, you're egoistic, you're making it clear that you're not going to put in work for the things that you want, you're going to receive that energy back to you as well. And it's about what you put out and what you receive. I think also here, though, that there might even be, not all of your guides are giving you all of the information that you need, but you don't, or that's not a good way of saying it. That's not what I was actually seeing. Your guides are not going to be giving you all of the information of the path that you are taking. That is the guidance with the Moon. And it's really emphasized here with the Emperor, because the Emperor is about control. And I see this as your guides kind of saying, we're in control here. Jesus, take the wheel. We have the knowledge to understand the strategy on a spiritual level. So as much as you might be questioning, why am I feeling guided to take the choices that I'm taking, you might also want to consider that you don't need to know the end results of the path to take the path, and that using your intuition in that aspect might benefit you at this time. Let's get some more cards out for hostilities, please, for Capricorn. We have strength. We have the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles. I'm going to talk about strength first, though. Strength is really also saying that there is something that you need to be defending here. You know, when it comes to, especially when it comes to relationships, but this is also saying, oh, you know, ego, okay. This is a reiteration of what I was saying about ego and pridefulness, especially, where that does have a purpose. You know, the lion has the teeth it has, and it has that ferocity about it, that strength, that visible, you know, prowess about it so that it can protect itself. But at the same time, the lion does not need to protect itself from its cubs. And it's that same energy. It does not necessarily need to protect itself from its mate. You know, it's that same energy for you where it's kind of like you don't need to protect yourself from somebody who is trying to have a relationship with you on a romantic level. I mean, there are people obviously that might have some, you know, ulterior motives to things, but you have to take that as it comes. And if you are going to sit in the ideology that I need to protect myself at every turn regardless of what's coming towards me, you might just scare away exactly what it is you want to bring in at this time, especially if you're looking for a Queen of Cups energy. That could be a Scorpio, Pisces, Aquarius. This person could be Aquarius or have Aquarius in their chart. This Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer individual, somebody who is very spiritual, somebody who is very intuitive, somebody who is very emotional. And okay, and so that actually, now that I'm looking at it, if this was a relationship reading with the moon here, you might be there might be a trine where this person has the Cancer, Scorpio, and you have the Pisces, and that creates a trine in like your synastry chart. That would be interesting to see, but I'm not going to say anything further than that. The Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands. There is going to be new beginnings happening for you, especially when you put your pride to the side. It's kind of like you get a reward. Okay, you get a reward for, you know, from your guides for taking the path that you're guided to take, especially on the material level. It's like, and I was saying that earlier where I was like, you might have even got a job and tried to get more stability in your life so that you could have a relationship in the future that was really worthwhile for you. You are getting rewarded with that so that you can have that new beginning. And a lot of that also has to do with your relationship with spirit, with your guides, whatever they may be. And that relationship to abundance will continue as long as you continue the relationship with your guides, with spirit energy, especially. And that doesn't mean that you have to go as far as being a spiritual medium or a spiritual guru for other people. But it is saying to understand, you know, where you're at right now spiritually might be exactly where you need to be, and to continue on that path, meaning continue doing what you're doing if it's working out for you. And that's all I have to say about hostilities. The third card that we have from the Energy Oracle is the Angel of Love. This is a 49, reducing to a 13, reducing to a 4. And 4 is all about balance. 4 is all about equilibrium. 4 is about the balancing of, you know, the earthly. 4 is all about balancing out the earthly, what is it called? The elements. This card, to me, right now, is kind of a representation of who you might be going towards, especially if you are attracted to feminines. If you are attracted to masculines, this might be the energy that you're embodying, is if in contrast to the man holding a heart. Take it as it applies. And if it's not that, then I'm seeing that you also have something to protect here as well. This is very open energy. And so this hostilities card in the center of the reading is really indicating to me that there is something that needs to be protected, but there's also something that needs to be moved out of the way. The Angel of Love, they said the energy of love when I first looked at this. It's like there's hidden mysteries around this person that you might be looking towards, especially for the masculines. If this person is kind of, it's kind of like the masculines here are very prideful and they use that as protection for themselves, and the feminines here are very spiritual and they use their spiritual prowess, quote unquote, they said, to kind of protect themselves. And it's like, you can only spiritually protect yourself so much, but both of you kind of need to lower your weapons here in this relationship for it to work the way it needs to. It's like the masculines really have something that they want to offer and the feminines really want something to be offered, but it's kind of like that can only happen if you open up to each other, you know? On a spiritual level, it's kind of like you're reflecting each other in this energy, because while one of you might be holding up a sword literally with your, you know, your thoughts in your communication, one of you might be holding up a sword spiritually as well. I don't know how that would be described here. Yep, exactly what I was saying. Queen of Swords, especially the feminines. I was saying holding up a sword spiritually, where it's kind of like, yes, you can come and speak to me. Yes, you can be in my space, but I'm going to protect myself spiritually. I'm going to make sure that I'm prepared. If any of you do any kind of spellcraft, you might even be like, collecting all the ingredients just to make sure in case you have to like hex or, you know, put a curse on somebody or something like that. And that's kind of funny, but that's not necessarily the best energy to be in if you're trying to attract somebody into a relationship, especially if they have, you know, a deeper connection to their own intuition. They're going to be kind of like pushed away and their guides are kind of like, what are you doing, you know, that kind of thing. The Queen of Swords is also an indication to me, though, that you are kind of opening yourself up mentally to new possibilities, but you're still protecting yourself. And it might even be from a fear of abandonment, where it's kind of like you don't want the situation to fall apart. With the Five of Pentacles here, that's exactly what that is. You don't want to feel like you're being left out, you're being left alone, you're being pushed away by an individual. And so that's really what I was saying when I was saying, you know, maybe don't be in the energy of like, I have to wield my sword against this person, because it's not going to benefit you. They're trying to push somebody away from you. And this is for the feminines especially. But, you know, we all have masculine and feminine energy within us. So take that as it applies. Oh, we have the Lovers and the Two of Cups coming out right next to each other. This is a great indication that this relationship is going to happen regardless on whether or not you take action to cleanse your energy and clear your space. So prepare for that, you know, and that's the kind of energy that I was really saying, you know, you are on the right track. If you're trying to manifest a relationship, you're on the right track, but don't create the illusion of you being in a relationship already. Don't try and make this person jealous. Don't try to put on a facade that you have more than you do if you don't have a lot of money. Don't try to put on a facade that you don't have a lot of money if you do, or that's something that you're not looking for if that's part of your relationship. You know, it's all that kind of stuff. Don't put on the facade that, you know, oh, yikes. Don't, like, it's, how do I say that? Nine of Wands. Okay. So it's kind of like, don't put on the facade that you haven't been through some shit before you start this new cycle in this new relationship. Don't pretend like the things that are happening for you or the things that have happened to you in the past didn't exist or didn't happen, because that's not the truth. And it's kind of obvious to your counterpart here that that's what's happened for you. Interesting. And it's like the Nine of Wands is an indication that you've been through a battle, which is why you're so protective of yourself, your energy. But you're still prepared to continue on the path, and you're preparing yourself to continue on the path. At some point in the Nine of Wands, you're going to have to leave these wands behind. And that's interesting because we have the Ten of Wands come out. And so some of you might have left those wands behind, but the scars are still there from that part of the journey. And it's like, that is exactly what the lesson is for you, is to let go of some of those energies of those past relationships, those past situations. If this is about a work situation, letting go of some of those fears about the negative experiences that you've had in that realm of your life. But that, for the people who are here for the relationships, because I'm not really a career reader anyway, this is being pushed by your guides to happen on divine timing, is what they're saying to me. Oops. And there also is an indication that you do need to focus on the flow of energy between you and this person. They're saying start small so that you can develop a strong connection with this individual, especially on a level of communication. As things develop, more will be explained and more will be understood moving forward. You do there is also the aspect here is being highlighted here that you do need to protect yourself to the extent that you don't want to jump into a relationship with somebody, especially if they are your counterpart in some kind of spiritual manner, and give them everything right away. You know, that is kind of what's going to prevent this from being functional, because it's like you don't want to put everything on about yourself on the table just immediately as you start the relationship. That might kind of fizzle things out for one of you or both of you. But you do want to be able to move past some of your more negative and heavier limitations to have this relationship happen for you. And on the bottom of the deck, which I'm going to take this as advice because I like this card, we have the Goddess of the Moon, which is a 52, resonating with the energy of 7. So you might even be feeling very lucky right now. Oh, you might be connecting to your guides, and you might even be reflecting that in your appearance as well. I'm saying not because these two individuals look alike, but there is a lot of energy around them, etheric energy around them. That might be something that you're interested in. You might be interested in researching. With Goddess of the Moon, you and this person might have great synastry together, and that might be something that you want to discuss or research if you're interested in astrology. But ultimately, it's kind of like, oh, and we already had the moon out in the reading, and it's kind of like, it's exactly what I was saying about the path. It's like you are being guided down a path right now, whether you're aware of it or not. And it's kind of like you need to let your guides get you there as well. There are going to be lessons. There are going to be challenges that are going to kind of help you with some of the things that I was saying were more of a problematic energy for you. So keep that in mind, and don't put it all on yourself and burden yourself with the ideas of, oh, well, maybe I do need to put some of my weapons down when it comes to relationships. Oh, well, maybe I do need to put my pride aside. Oh, well, maybe I do need to lessen my, warrior goddess energy, they just said, and have more of a, softer approach to relationships with people. Maybe that's true for you, maybe it's not. I'm not the authority here. You know what I mean? Hopefully this helps you, Capricorn, and I'll see you in your next reading. Goodbye.